I sure am thirsty for some airtime. What a great original bit. Papa Nolly, bro. You did it. Dude, if this was Tony Hawk, that'd be a gap for sure. I can't believe what the heck you just kickflipped off the SM7B.
This is Tech Tech ASMR on my SM7B.
There's 100% of... There's a market for that. You need to upload it immediately. TikTok that. Okay.
TikTok it, okay.
And what a great opening. So coming at you again with niche knowledge and nonsense. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Bailey.
We're going to have to fact check that. But we're not here to talk about tech decks, as enthralling as they are. We're talking about a different sort of enthrall. A sort of spiritual darkness. Something that seeps into your very bones. Something horrifying.
Mm-hmm. What he said.
Okay. Well, we're never going to get a Casper mattresses ad with a opening like this. But what do we have today?
Well, we're going to do a couple of reaction videos. I sent you one. It is about a real estate agent who is closing up a house at night after some showings, and she experiences some paranormal activity and caught it on camera. So we're gonna watch this video, and then it'll be kind of like a blind reaction, and then we'll just kind of talk about it and whether or not it is believable or if we think it's real.
And with that, let's roll right into it.
Wow, it's 10 p.m. and my day was fully booked with showings of this beautiful vintage 1962. Wow, it's 10 p.m. and my day was fully booked with showings of this vintage 1963 bungalow. Go ahead, do it again. You're on camera.
Thinking this could be paranormal, she begins to speak to whatever's in the house.
Okay, so what did you think of that?
A couple of things I liked, a couple of things that give me pause right from the get-go. Number one, beautiful vintage. It looked like the deadbolt on the door that swung open was maybe broken, and it also sounded like the door itself was like rattling, like the knob, like it actually what am I trying to say? It like twisted the knob, right? You could hear the hardware, unlatching, which if that was real, at all, that's like way scarier than something just slowly going like and creaking open. Like it sounds like the door was opened. Now,
Like something was messing with it.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's
Which I
creepy.
feel like most of the time I see a creepy door opening, the door is open. It's like ajar, and then it just slides the rest of the way open, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's so scary." And I'm like, "Brother, that is the wind." But this,
Or like, so I live in a really old house, and one thing that I've noticed is like if a door is not shut all the way and you step on the floor in front of it just right, it will cause it to like set loose from the doorway a little bit and then just like kind of come open a little bit.
oh, I know
Because
what
it
you
happened
mean.
to me once. Yeah. And that's like when you don't like latch it properly, and then it'll just do that because my house was built in like the late 1800s. So like
So
I've noticed that.
1963, this is like baby stuff compared to your home.
Yeah, no joke. But I do want to, a couple things I wanted to point out. Um, First of all, why is she there by herself at like 10 o'clock at night? Like that to me seems like really dangerous.
Sure. I mean, she did have a full day of bookings.
Sure. Supposedly. Also, watch the picture behind her. The man picture. Yeah, right there. No, up above the black
This one right here?
The face turns black
Okay, I'm watching.
after. Yeah, so watch it.
So she forgot her lines.
Yeah,
Which,
she forgets her lines.
if it's staged, that's a nice little bonus. You know, to just kind of forget your lines, make it look loosey goose.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and add the sound again.
Wow, it's 10 p.m. and my day was fully booked with showings of this vintage 1963 bungalow.
Okay, I did hear it unlatched, but did you also see the
Yes.
blackening of the face?
Yes.
That's weird, but I don't think it would be hard to edit that.
Go ahead, do it again.
And there was also a cut right there, and you can see by the little like fill-in strips at the top of the video, it kind of switched to a different aspect ratio. So I guess that was probably recording it in an app, and then maybe switched to like just the camera when creepy stuff started happening.
Well, yeah, because if she used her phone and was like, "Go ahead, do it again," there could have been a lapse of time.
Well,
As
yeah, I
well.
assume that's what it was, that she went over, stopped the video, and then, started it back up
Yeah,
to see if,
It also
the weird
wouldn't-
stuff would happen again.
yeah. It also would not be that difficult to like have someone else stand in the room that the smoke detector was in, and just have them like use a broom or something to like hit it off of the wall.
No,
out of view.
it wouldn't be hard at all. Also, conveniently, the door frame is, shadows are facing away. Somebody could just be standing in that, and you only see the door swing open when the video plays. So that would not
Yeah.
be difficult to fake. Essentially, everything in this video, there's nothing to it that wouldn't be possible to fake. Then again, with like Bigfoot sightings and things, they say, the inherent ability to get a Bigfoot costume and fake this stuff is what makes it so sad when you actually see a Bigfoot, because you're guaranteed that nobody will believe you. A couple other things
Yeah.
to note. I personally feel like, I don't know, if you're in real estate, you're usually pretty good at video media, making things look right, advertising, that kind of stuff. I do not feel like, maybe this shot was framed just so like the artwork was in the background, but it's not like flattering lighting. I feel like most realtors would probably keep the light source like on their face so there weren't so many harsh shadows. I might be
Yeah.
wrong. That could just be a stylistic choice. I don't know. And the other thing I wanted to kind of watch through is to see, I think, most of the house is pretty empty. So I'm guessing it really is either somebody just moved in or moved out, or it is a real estate agent. I'm not really doubting that. At least according to
Yeah.
the video we're seeing right now, the original attribution is unknown. So it makes it hard to reach out and get any additional information. But while I do think it's creepy, if real, there was nothing in this video that couldn't be explained by 30-second practical effects.
Right. Yeah.
So
I'm hesitant to believe it
I agree.
being real. Yeah.
So being in a house that is 100 years older than this vintage 1963, have you had anything I mean, I'm hoping, like smoke detectors aren't going off and falling off the ceilings, but have you had anything like that in the past?
Um, I had quite a bit of stuff happen to me in the house that I grew up in, as a kid, but not really the house that I'm in now. Um, there was one time, here in this house, it was a couple months after we moved in. My daughter, she was around 3 at the time. She kept talking about seeing this white dog in our living room. And at the time, we didn't have a dog, and I thought that it was just her imagination. And we ended up, yeah, it would have been exactly 2 months because we moved in October of 2020. And then the previous owner sent us a Christmas card, and we got it in December. So that would have been 2 months. And on the card, she had two little dogs and then a picture of, so there were like several pictures on the front of the Christmas card. One of them was her and her spouse. The other one was like of two little dogs. And then one was a box that said RIP on it, and it had a little picture or like plaque of a small white dog on it.
Sheesh.
And I never really like, for the amount of creepy, weird things that I've had happen in my life, I've always like tried to explain it away because I don't know, after it happening so many times, you're just kind of like, okay, what now? Type thing. You just kind of become desensitized to it and it's not as scary anymore. But this was actually one thing that I'm like, okay, this isn't just happening to me. Like, this is happening to my daughter. Maybe it's not just her imagination. I don't know. It was so strange. But we haven't had, and she hasn't said anything about it since.
No, I
Yeah.
feel like that's a compelling format to get some like supernatural information is from kids specifically, like when they're rattling off information that they couldn't have possibly known. I think that's, it's a pretty common trope in media, to be like, I see a man wearing a top hat standing in the corner when I'm trying to sleep. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever, whatever. But when it's like something in real life, like they see little, passed away Toto running around in the living room, that's pretty alarming. And I mean,
Yeah.
growing up in areas where it is old towns and you're in a lot of old buildings and everything, even if you don't personally see a lot of supernatural phenomena, I mean, you're always getting stories about it at the very least. I mean, specifically, we both worked in restored movie theaters, like, kind of, what would you say, Art Deco 20s style buildings. And
Yeah.
even if you didn't see anything super, super creepy personally, I had so many customers who would be like leaving after a show and bring up that, I used to work here when I was your age and this place is haunted. And, they pull you aside and they tell you the creepy stuff they saw. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's midnight
I
and I'm
also
about to
had a
clean
couple.
alone, but thanks.
Yeah, no, I also had a couple people tell me that. And it was only like two or three, but it's just so strange. I did actually see something really weird in the projector booth upstairs at the main theater that we worked at. And at the time, we still had a film projector. And there were platters. For those of you who don't know, film was run through a projector, but it had to come off of one platter and then basically like be rewound onto another platter. And it was essentially like a giant VHS tape that was hooked up to a projector.
It's a perfect
Is
way to
how it
explain it.
worked.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there were three platters that you could feed film off of and then feed it back onto the platter. So I'm on the bottom platter, and so I'm like on my knees on the ground. And I looked up and I saw a foot. There was a small step up into the projection booth, and I saw a leg step up into the room, and it was black pants with like thin white stripes, and then it had like black and white wingtip shoes. And I thought that it was the person that I was supposed to be working with that night because it was Andrew. And as you know, Andrew would like wear fedoras to work and stuff and like dress up in suits
Sure.
sometimes. Um, but I hadn't turned the lights on in the like the actual theater like auditorium yet. So I went over to the breaker, or at first I said, "Hey, how's it going?" or something like that. And then I stood up because I was done with the projector and the film. And so then I switched the lights on the breaker in there. And I stepped out expecting Andrew to be standing there, and there was no one there. So then I walk out into the auditorium, no one's there. And I'm like, I guess I'll go downstairs because this theater had 2 stories. So then I walked down the stairs and Andrew's not there. He ended up being late that night. So I like was super freaked out to close by myself after that.
Sure.
Um,
That's as you should be. And Andrew wasn't that committed of a prankster to like show up, creep you out, then
No.
leave and be late. So like
Yeah.
that is a little creepy. I mean, in the best of times working in a 100-year-old building that's just open and cavernous but has a bunch of tiny little back rooms and hallways is not pleasant. So I mean, I imagine
No.
being like 16 and 4'11" probably made it a lot scarier too. But
I'm 5'1". Thank you.
oh,
4'11".
never mind, no one's
Oh,
messing with
yeah.
you. But seriously, like it is creepy. And while I never had anything that I would chalk up to supernatural at any of the movie theaters we worked in across Illinois or Iowa, it was still
Yeah.
extremely creepy. But again, like there was
Okay.
one
Yeah,
auditorium.
tell the one at the Roseland.
The break-ins one. Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, the Roseland Theater in Pana, Illinois, a gorgeous movie theater, probably again about 100 years old. It was originally an 800 plus seat cinema, and it's still, just
Giant.
one single screen, massive auditorium, very
Yeah.
old building. But while we were working there, we started experiencing a string of break-ins where they were just stealing money out of the register. You lock the register better. They started stealing the whole cash register. Like they were committed. The police naturally got involved, and they suggested that it was possible that somebody was staying after the show and they weren't really breaking in, that they were breaking out after everyone left.
Yeah.
So the suggestion was that before we left at night, that we had to do a walkthrough of the whole movie theater, which again, massive building, tons of infrastructure,
Yeah.
800 seats, a lot of nooks and crannies to look through. But the worst part
Yeah.
was that it was on this basement tunnel structure that like connected to the sewers. So you go down there. There are no electric lights. It's just like school hallways, essentially, that are plain concrete with rooms
Yeah.
branching off of them. You got into it going through like an orchestra pit, which those kind of
Yes.
don't exist anymore, but it was like a little recess right under the screen, where in the old
But
days before sound and movies, an orchestra would actually, conduct the score.
Yeah. But remember, that's also where they kept the ice machine. So for the lobby,
Sure,
they would
yeah.
have the ice machine down in the orchestra pit in the auditorium. So when we would open at night, we would have to put ice in our soda machines.
You gotta
We'd
go
have
into
to
the creepy
carry
pit.
buckets, 5-gallon buckets,
quarter
down to the
mile,
orchestra
yes.
pit. And that was as far as I ever went. I never went under the stage because, first of all, I'm like claustrophobic.
Sure.
But also, I just got super creepy vibes.
No.
I was too scared to ever go
It was
down
very
there.
creepy. A lot of people didn't. I worked with some people who didn't even know there was like a basement. Like, I guess it was
Oh, yeah.
technically like a sub stage, but
Yeah.
it had a whole bunch of just like plain concrete rooms, which in the old days would have been where people got ready or prepared for playing
Yeah, costume
music
changes or-
costume
yeah.
changes, things like that. In modern eras, they were just like empty. So it was just a long concrete hallway with steel doors every 20 feet. And I had to take a flashlight and a hammer that we got from the
Yes.
maintenance closet and walk the hallways of the 100-year-old movie theater unlit basement, checking all the empty concrete rooms for intruders. And, I'm like, I don't like doing this as a scrawny lad, of a meager build at 1 a.m. But I was committed to our mission of bringing the best movie deal, which was admission, popcorn, and a soda
Popcorn
for
and a
$7.
soda for $7.
Yeah, exactly. You know the drill. To the community. So I was willing to do it. I would have died for that company. And it could have happened because if anyone was laying in wait, what was I gonna do? I weighed 120
Yeah, right?
pounds. So that was not my best experience. Terrifying, not supernatural. And even going into the Den of Ultimate Evil like that, I never saw anything like ghostly, but it was eerie, it was creepy, and I hesitate to disbelieve anybody who did say they saw something because the place felt heavy.
Well, I did see something there.
At the
as well.
Roseland?
Yeah, at the Roseland. So I'm trying to think of the best way to explain the way that the auditorium was set up, like for everyone listening right now. So like you walk into the movie theater and you're staring at the screen, right? Well, turn around and imagine there are 2 sets of stairs on either side of the entrance that you just came through. And those stairs lead up to the bathrooms and also like office rooms. And the office room that was near the men's restroom, we actually used like as an office, and there's like a desk in there and stuff. And there were windows that looked down into the theater. So they had put blinds up in the windows so that when we had the light on in there, it wasn't shining down into the auditorium.
Sure.
So I'm closing there by myself. It's probably like 10 o'clock at night. And I don't remember there being a lot of people there, but I remember I was mopping or I was sweeping or something. And I happened to look up because I kind of had that feeling like I was being watched. And I looked up in the office and I saw it looked like someone had taken their fingers and like spread open the blinds. And then I looked back down at what I was doing. And then I was like, wait, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? And I looked back up and it was gone. The fact that there was a string of like
break-ins
break-ins
that was somebody
that I
probably
didn't
hanging out in
know
there.
about at the time. Somebody could have actually been a person. And this whole time I thought that it was like a ghost.
No, I never.
I
that's
literally
scary.
just had that realization. I feel sick to my stomach.
No, that's
Ethan.
horrifying. I'm sorry you had to just like connect those dots on the mic, but
It just
that's
yeah,
scary
it just
as
connected.
heck. No, I don't doubt it. And honestly, if I'd looked up and seen like the office blinds, like I'm down in the auditorium, like flick open, I would have been out. I would have locked up behind me, but I would have messaged my boss and been like, deuces, man, dip it out.
However, you will remember the projector booth was also upstairs. You had to go up those stairs by the bathrooms.
Sure.
So I went up on the other side and I waited for the film to finish running through the projector. And then I just immediately shut everything off. I booked it down the freaking stairs, shut everything off from the breaker down there, and then grabbed my purse and I freaking left. Like,
I would have done the exact
but I still had to
same
go
thing.
up there.
Mm-hmm. Man, what else? Okay, there is one more thing I wanted to run by you, and we can't ignore this on merit of real estate having a supernatural experience. Did you know that there is a real estate agent, right? And her name is Sue Stanford, also known as the Ghost Realtor, who specializes in selling 100% ghost-free homes.
No.
So-
Please tell me more.
Absolutely. And a very kind older lady stationed out of L.A., I believe, L.A. County, selling high-dollar homes, which they all are in L.A., obviously. And
Yeah.
she was part of the hit television comedy series Nathan For You, in which he rebranded her business in real estate to try to make it a little bit more zesty. And it came up with that a lot
Okay.
of the homes in LA are haunted. And when you tell potential buyers that there may or may not be a haunting, they're actually measurably less likely to consider a property, right? So, by being able to be
Okay.
the only real estate agent that can guarantee 100% ghost free homes by working with local ministers, religious figures, and soothsayers to, like, sage the place, cleanse the spiritual energy, and mitigate any ghosts, demons, or disasters, Sue can offer you a 100% or your money back guaranteed ghost free home. And if you can prove that your home is still haunted after you buy it, you get your money back. The only thing you have to would come up
What?
with, I guess, is empirical evidence of the supernatural.
Of a ghost?
Yes, but
What in the world? I had no idea.
absolutely. For copyright reasons, I'm not going to play the whole clip or anything on here, but
Okay.
I just thought it was.
Yeah, I just want to see a little bit. You can send me the link and I'll watch
Absolutely.
more of it later, probably.
So I'll probably just cut it off after my discussion about Sue, but very wild.
Yeah.
But do not go to it now. She ran the website ghostfreehome.com for several years while trying to get a television series picked up. It was signed, it was dropped, it was signed, it was dropped, off and on, until she eventually, I was sad to figure out, gave up on the Ghost Free Home branding and went back to regular LA real estate. So I understand always trying something new. I want to praise Sue for her elasticity in the real estate space. I know it's very cutthroat, but cutthroat or not, murder or not, I think that's good in your business as long as you can guarantee it's ghost free. But do not go to ghostfreehomes.com. I tried opening it. It's apparently been appropriated by some kind of malware distribution thing, and my antivirus went wild. Maybe it
Oh,
encountered a
no.
ghost because Sue's no longer there to mitigate the spiritual disasters that plague LA real estate.
Maybe that's what she did with the ghosts.
So,
She put them in. I'm joking.
So this opens up an interesting business prospect, though. I was thinking, what if instead of selling ghost-free homes, you specialized in selling haunted houses? This is going to sound 100% fake. When I was 18, touring houses, looking for my first apartment, well, I was looking for houses, apartments, whatever I could get back then that was
Yeah.
under $400. I went to a house with a real estate agent, and I was walking around, and we get to the living room, and the ceiling fans kind of ripped out of the ceiling a little way. It's askew.
No.
And she's
Is-
like,
Okay, is this.
the ceiling fan doesn't work. And I'm like, oh, that's upsetting. Okay, can we get that fixed? And she's like, I don't know. I think it's as is. Ha ha ha. So we get done, and I say, I gotta ask, are there any details I should know about? Because I'm getting creepy vibes or whatever. And she said, well, I'm technically required to disclose that the previous occupant of this home died by suicide while they were living here. And I'm like, okay.
Was it the ceiling fan?
Had to go ask a neighbor, and they said, yeah, bad business. Hanged himself from the ceiling fan. Screw it back into the box. Oh my gosh. Right? I feel
I do not have any words.
I feel like I was touring it with my dad at the time, because
Where was this?
it was in even that, I don't know if I want to give too many details for privacy of the family or anything. I get the
Yeah.
impression it was somebody who was very lonely and living alone and older.
Okay.
But I guess it was some bad business. I thought, you can't get a good deal because of that. The real estate agent was really dodgy about bringing it up. I don't know how much of that's hyperbole from people around, but I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't be looking up at a
No.
crooked ceiling fan every time I'm watching TV and know that somebody hit the lowest point of their life, like
Their
right
life,
there,
and
and died.
yeah.
Like,
No, I mean, I'm sure you've seen memes of like landlords and the shit that they do, and like one of the videos I've seen is where they just like take white paint and like a roller and just like roll over a freaking cockroach on the wall.
right,
Or
or
they
blood
just like paint
stains or
over
whatever.
all
Yeah.
of the yeah. And that's very much the vibe that I'm getting from that, cuz I'm like,
Oh,
oh my
for
God.
sure, for sure. But that is to say, I wasn't willing to take the discounted rate on admittedly a very nice property because of my own superstition. I think some people really would. And if you led some real estate saying, I'm going to sell haunted houses or houses where horrible things happened, where if you don't care about that, we can cut a deal. I'm going to give you all of the
Yeah.
information so you can go in and make a competitive offer. I think that could work.
is this like the moment when you and I get like a license
Real
to
estate
sell
license.
homes, and then we just start this business? Because there is definitely a target audience out there for that.
I think
like,
so too.
You just have to.
And think about like I would be shocked if any less than 20 people have died in your house, like being a house that's well over 100 years old. Like we can
Yeah.
dig up that dirt and make any house seem unbuyable except to the, the arcane, the occult, and the people who don't care
Right.
about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and as somebody who doesn't really believe in
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, like I'm pretty hesitant, and I'm always trying to like come up with some logical explanation
Sure.
for anything that happens.
So I gotta ask, would you live in a house
yeah.
where you knew, like, say that somebody got murdered? Now, I'll preface this and say that the murderer is no longer with us. Walked the plank, so
Okay.
to speak. So there's no risk of like, oh, somebody's going to come back and copycat.
I'm going to say if I didn't know about it,
No, you do know about it.
then
They
yeah.
disclose it.
But if I know about it, then no.
Oh, really?
Most likely. Well, it depends. It depends. If it's going to be like a decent amount off of like the price, then I might consider
So we're
it.
gonna
And
say-
it also depends on what room it happened.
Okay, we're going to say, for the sake of this illustration, all the homes in the neighborhood are $300,000, right? All the comp properties. They're offering this one for $225,000, a full 75 grand off any of the comparable
Okay.
properties because somebody was murdered with a hatchet on the sofa in the living room.
In the living room.
Yes. It was cleaned professionally, and you can barely see any stains on the maple floors.
I'm going to say no.
No, for 75,000
No.
bucks? Why not?
I don't know. Just because like
It'll be in the back of
first
your
of all,
head.
a death in the living room is ironic. Second, if it had happened like in the backyard or somewhere, like, oh my God.
There was a lag. I was trying to play that when you said the living room, which was
That scared the fuck out
Which
of me.
was
You can't
ironic.
do that. You gotta
I
tell
tried.
me what you're doing.
I tried. You said, which is ironic. But it took a while to queue up.
That
I'm
scared
so
me
sorry. I'm so sorry.
bad.
But please proceed. If it was in
okay.
the backyard, you wouldn't care. Like if it was somebody who just got like chopped up with a shovel when they were gardening and they picked the wrong petunia, so to speak, and they got the big
Right,
hoe.
right.
You'd be all right with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it wouldn't be like in the house, I guess. It would just be like on the property. But I don't know.
Okay.
That's a hard one. What would you do?
Yeah, I'd do it. I think my biggest holdback would be that, everybody talks. Like the neighbors are always going to be like, bad business going on in that house. Like, I wonder what kind of sort of people buy that. And I'd say, I want to inject some new life into this community. I want to give this structure a second lease on life. Give it the courtesy that its previous owners were not extended due to the murder.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. It's all about that branding, you know?
Yep.
I don't know. So with that, that's about all I've got to say on haunted houses for now. You got anything else?
No, I don't.
All right. So thanks for tuning in
No.
for another supernatural and peripheral episode of Niche Knowledge and Nonsense. We'll be coming at you again probably in the next couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, most likely.
Most likely.
Unless one of us dies or something.
Hey,
but-
and if so, then we will be with you in spirit.
Yep. R.I.P.
R.I.P. I thought I'd be able to.
Using that one.
I thought it was pretty good up until.
Yeah.
I think we can cut it where you said R.I.P.
Hey.